All right, welcome back. What would you like to start with today?
I think we can start with the NFL execs ranking of every position. So every year, ESPN puts out an article where executive coaches, and scouts rank the NFL top 10 at at all the positions for 2025, and they recently put out this list for quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, etc. So basically, we're just going to go over that, see what we think about where everybody stands on this list. I already know we're going to disagree with the quarterbacks just based off of who's listed as number one, but let's get right to it.
Um, do you want to start with the quarterbacks? You said.
Yeah, does that work?
Yeah, I'm just pulling it up on my end here.
Okay.
Why can't I find this? Oh, there it goes. All right, I'm good to go. Real quick, what I do have to say, because I don't know who's on the list right now, but sometimes I feel like this list is a little weird just because like we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Let's just go over and probably what do you want to start with from 10 to 1 or 1 to 10?
Yeah, let's go 10 to 1. So in this article, it has a reminder of the rankings process. So voters gave us their best 10 players at a position. Then we compiled the results and ranked candidates based on number of top 10 votes, composite average, dozens of interviews with research and film study, help from ESPN analyst Matt Bowden. In total, more than 70 voters submitted a ballot on at least one position, and in many cases, all of them. Additional voting and follow up calls with those surveys helped us break any ties. Um, each of these sections includes quotes and nuggets from the voters on every ranked player, even honorable mentions. Object was to identify the best players for 2025. This is not a 5-year projection or a career achievement award. It is who are the best players today. So, starting at number 10, Baker Mayfield, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In years past, his highest ranking's been 5. His lowest ranking's been unranked, and last year he was unranked. Baker Mayfield, number 10. Any qualms?
I just think that's I think that's super ridiculous.
Let's
There
actually go through the let's go through the list, and then we can talk about where we think everybody should kind of be. Does that work?
sure.
Okay. Baker Mayfield at 10. Jaylen Herz at 9. Last year, he was an honorable mention. His highest rank has been 7, and his lowest ranking's been unranked. Jared Goff was 8th. Highest ranking has been 5. Lowest ranking's been unranked. Last year, he was ranked 9th. 7th, we have Justin Herbert. Highest rank has been 3. Last year, he was ranked 6th. Number 6 is Matt Stafford. His highest ranking's been 4, and last year he was ranked 5. Number 5 is Jaden Daniels. This was his first time on this list. Number 4 has been Lamar Jackson, where his highest ranking's been 1, and last year he was also ranked 4th. Number 3 is Joe Burrow. Highest ranking's been 1, and last year he was ranked 2. Number 2, Josh Allen with the highest ranking of 1, and last year he was ranked 3rd. And to sound off on the top 10, number 1, Patrick Mahomes, highest ranking has been 1, and last year he was also ranked number 1. So, where do you want to take this? Go ahead.
I think probably the very first thing that needs to be addressed on this list is Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the NFL. He is by far the best running threat in the NFL, bar none, at the quarterback position. The other thing is he throws the ball just as well as the other top quarterbacks on this list. The reason why I have him as number one is not only does he have like timing, accuracy, arm talent, the pocket presence that he needs, top tier decision making, his creativity is larger than anybody else's in the NFL. And as you see, like Patrick Mahomes over the last 2 years, where the type of offense that they're running has become almost non-existent from an explosive plays standpoint.
It's very dink and dunk. It's very,
Every
very
single Ravens offense since Lamar has been there has not fell off in any way, shape, or form with the explosiveness. And I don't think that anybody could really argue that the Ravens skill position group is leaps and bounds better than the Chiefs skill position group. I think that they have a very mid wide receiving core. I think that their tight end room is pretty solid. And obviously, they just got Derrick Henry last year, but before that, they didn't have that elite running back. But even Derrick Henry now is in his 30s. I don't think that like any offense that Lamar has had at any point in his career has been like, oh my gosh, like he has a ton of dudes on this offense. I think it's always been middle of the road. And I think that at some point that has to have some sort of impact on what's going on. Like last year, Lamar threw for 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. And it seems to be like maybe the most under discussed thing of all time. He missed out on an MVP, and now he just doesn't even get the respect of at least leading, like, on getting ranked by executives in the NFL on that level where even if he isn't number one, like, and you want to put Patrick Mahomes in there just because of the Super Bowl aspect, I think that's a weak argument, but some people will do that. I think that it's absolutely almost irresponsible to have Lamar Jackson anywhere on any quarterback list without him being number one.
I think at the very least, at the absolute very least, he should not be outside of the top 3. I think he is the best quarterback in the NFL as well. I think there's a case for Josh Allen to be made too, but there is zero reason. It's inexcusable that Joe Burrow is ahead of Lamar Jackson on this list. I fully do not understand it. I think Joe Burrow is very good, but I think nobody has benefited more from a Super Bowl appearance that he ended up losing than Joe Burrow.
Even the basis of this list, like what you just said, this isn't a career achievement award or a 5-year blah blah blah. Okay,
Who are
if
the
that's the
best players
case,
right now?
if that's the case, why is
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes number one? Why is Patrick Mahomes number one on this list? If all of those prerequisites that you just said are in place, Patrick Mahomes then should not be on this list because he has not played. He's been playing at like a top 15 quarterback
Yep.
by every metric. I don't think he's like the 15th best quarterback, but
No, that's not what we're saying.
but it's not like anything that he's doing is jumping out the page when there are guys who are just playing way better football than them. The reason I say something like that is because you have somebody like Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff on this top 10 list as well. And it just feels like you are to get them up there, you're really using like statistics as your key indicator of why and how well they performed last season, how well they were throwing the football, and kind of taking everything out of the equation. So when it's like you're putting guys like Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield in this discussion like that, it feels like you need to then take away from the Patrick Mahomes discussion at least a little bit.
Yeah, at the very least, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have been playing a better quarterback position than Patrick Mahomes has the last 2 to 3 years probably. And I think I just think that everybody is taking past success way too far into account in this list when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, more so than anybody else. I understand that Josh Allen won the MVP last year. I have no problem with him being number 2, but even we will agree on this. Lamar Jackson had a fucking insane season and likely should have won that MVP. It still boggles my mind seeing that he had 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions and somehow didn't win the award. Um, but nevertheless, there's no reason that Lamar's fourth on this list.
No,
Um,
absolutely not. That's probably the first thing that sticks out to me. I mean, another thing that really sticks out to me is I don't think Jaden Daniels should be on this list at all. I
I'm
don't
glad you
think that
said that.
I don't think he's one of the best top 10 I don't think he is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And I think that it's very prisoner of the moment. We watched what happened last season. There was a lot of things that were historical in that run that they had last year. I don't think anybody was really expecting out of him, but to then turn around and like put him
Put
at the
him at
top
number 5.
when I think that I don't have an issue with his playmaking ability. I think he's extremely creative and he'll always be like that. But from a timing perspective, from a decision making perspective, from a pocket presence perspective, I think that he has a lot of work to do. He in the pocket, a lot of the times it was one read, kind of get out of the pocket and start to make those decisions and move. He didn't have a lot of times where he stood tall in the pocket and was delivering passes on time. And I think that if you're talking about one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, I want him to be able to read an entire defense like the guys at the top of the list. And I don't feel like Jaden Daniels has proven that he can do that yet. I think that he laid the groundwork to show that he's a guy and could potentially be one of a top player in the league if he continues to develop his quarterback skills. But after one season, I guess I'm just not seeing how he could be in the top 10 list because he's not better than 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
And one of the things that I highlighted at the beginning of this is not a 5-year projection. This is
Mhm.
right now. And I feel like 5-year projection was somewhat built into him being at least number 5. I'd feel more okay with it if he ended up rounding out the top 10 and they had him at 10. But I said this about CJ Stroud and the Texans after his first year. CJ Stroud had a great rookie season and everybody was over the moon excited about him, and I was not ready to crown him. People had him in similar lists like this in the top 10, as Jaden Daniels.
And if you notice, he's not in these top 10
He's
lists at
not in this
all.
list
Yeah.
at all right now.
Yeah.
I'm That's where I'm going to be at when it comes to rookie quarterbacks. Yes, Jaden Daniels had a great rookie year, and I think he will continue to develop and continue to get better. But I have a really hard time throwing somebody in the top 5, in the top 10, let alone the top 5, after doing it for one season. Um, I think that that's kind of crazy, but that's just me personally. I Another thing that kind of stood out to me was Jared Goff, like you said. Um, I don't think Jared Goff's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, and he sits here on this list at 8th, and he actually was ranked 9th last year. So I understand he had a really good season, but if you're just looking at Jared Goff as a quarterback, look at what he has around him. I think it's really hard to make an argument that he's the 8th best quarterback in the NFL.
Jared Goff is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL if you don't ask him to move. And
Yeah.
once you ask him to do other things that are involved in the game of football, I think that argument starts to fall out the window.
Yeah, he has been extremely blessed playing with some of the greatest offensive minds in the NFL as his coaches. I understand that the Lions were phenomenal last season, but I just don't I think there's better quarterbacks in the NFL that didn't make this list than Jared Goff.
I have another one here. Jaylen Herz is not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I know that we've had this argument a few times, and it's not being a hater, it's not being anything. I think that Jalen Hurts' game is extremely limited. I think he throws a great deep ball. He also has one of the best deep ball getters in the NFL in AJ Brown. If that guy didn't make Brady's list. And he is just the inconsistencies in Jalen Hurts' game from a passing standpoint, not him being a leader, not him being able to be a dynamic athlete and run the football, not the ability of the Eagles to not be a great football team. This isn't for you. This is for everybody else when you have this conversation who can't really seem to grasp that. This is just watching Jalen Hurts on a week-to-week basis where you watch him throw some balls in the Super Bowl, for example, or some plays during their playoff run where he started to play a little bit better when it mattered most. And you have to sit there and ask, why can he not put that together for an entire season? And I think those inconsistencies alone right now, even taking what happened last year, is not enough to put him in this top 10. I think that there's a lot of other quarterbacks who show that they are way more reliable on a week-to-week basis than Jalen Hurts is.
I think that realistically, I don't have an issue with him being at 9 or 10 on this list because I look around at the rest of the quarterbacks in the NFL and I think it's pretty underwhelming if I'm going to be honest with you. I think there's a handful of guys that are equally as inconsistent. And then there's just a handful of young guys that we don't really know what they are quite yet. I really only think there's if we're going to be honest, I think there's probably two great quarterbacks in the NFL. There's probably three really good ones and then after that it's like not really that big of a gap between the rest of the guys and then there's like a small group of quarterbacks that are just like okay, we don't know what this is yet.
I personally completely disagree with that
Ok-
with that statement, like, fully. Um the reason I say that is because there are guys on a week to week basis who play the quarterback position very well. I'm not This is where whenever we start talking about quarterbacks and stuff like that, like, it feels like team kind of gets wrapped up in that, like, conversation as well. Like, this is not about team at all. This is just based on who can play the quarterback position well. And when I'm thinking about this list of guys who are not on this top 10 list, I'm thinking it's inexcusable to have any top 10 list without Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, if you watch football, like, plays the quarterback position as the top of the market does, the top guys. He is great at pre-snap. He's great at throwing the football, and he's extremely intelligent. Another guy that's not on this list, Jordan Love. Jordan Love not being on this list as a top 10 guy is ridiculous. He does things with throwing the football, and he has the arm talent and the pocket presence that rivals anybody on this list. Decision making, you might have that thing where it's like he throws too many interceptions. It is what it is. Um, the last person, and I know that everybody isn't going to agree with this, is Geno Smith. Geno Smith plays the quarterback position at a very high level. There are guys who are asked to do a great deal, and Patrick Mahomes is one of these guys, where every single week they are asked to pretty much make something out of nothing, like work with given, like, all of these things that are wrong, the offensive line, the play calling, everything. I think that's what makes Andy Reid gets a lot of credit for the whole Patrick Mahomes situation. the Chiefs don't put Patrick Mahomes in that many great situations to be able to really exert his talent. What Patrick Mahomes is great at is, even though all is bad, he is able to still find a way to make things happen. And that's what I think of when I'm thinking about like top 10 quarterbacks, is like when all goes wrong, when everything is bad, when the team's bad, all this stuff, like what is the quarterback position solid? And that's how I think of like a top 10 quarterback list and what these guys can do with little. And that's why I don't have somebody like Jared Goff on this list, who's pretty much given a layup everywhere he's gone. Just Jaylen Herz, who has like this great team around him and isn't asked to do a whole lot. That's really what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about these like top guys in the NFL.
So I will say the two honorable mention names on this list were CJ Stroud and Jordan Love. And I just don't think either one of those guys are. I think Jordan Love, I think CJ Stroud, Jalen Hurts, I don't think any of those guys are consistent enough to make a case that one is like drastically better than the other.
I just
So I just don't think that Jordan Love has been consistent enough to be solidified as like a top 7 guy, top 8 or top 6 guy. I think you could put him anywhere from like 8 to 12.
CJ Stroud and Jordan Love are top 10 quarterbacks. I mean, if you look what CJ Stroud does, you might not like love him, but if you look at what he does, I mean, you have to give that guy credit. I mean, it's insane.
I do, but I don't think that those guys are consistent enough week in and week out for it to say, okay, I think that no matter what, he's going to be the 8th best quarterback, because I think that there are games that both of these guys and
so let me lay it out for you like this then. Let's just say we're comparing Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love together right now. This is my thought process, and I want to see what you think about it. We are looking at them. Are either of them more consistent than the other? I personally think Jordan Love is probably a tad more consistent at throwing the football. He makes higher difficulty of throws than
I don't know if I agree with
Jalen Hurts at. He throws the ball all over the field. He has a stronger arm and he has better accuracy than Jalen Hurts. What Jalen Hurts does, he's a way better of an athlete than him. Way better of an athlete, is way more creative than him. And what I look at is like, who's in a better situation than one another. Jalen Hurts is probably in the best situation in the NFL. He's probably the best tandem wide receiver duo in the league. Not even going to talk about the rest of the team. Then you look at what Jordan Love has. I think Jordan Love is asked to do a great deal more than Jalen Hurts is, and I think that he plays a more consistent brand of football he did last year than Jalen Hurts does. That's my thought process.
The first half of the year, Jordan Love was not the same guy that we saw.
He was hurt. He didn't play in 6 games last season.
Okay, I still think being available matters, but he missed the first.
It doesn't have anything to do with. It doesn't have anything to do with like sk Like I'm talking about like I'm not talking about like availability. I'm talking about laying.
He missed 2 games and they won both of those games that he didn't play in. So I would say that that's a pretty good situation where your starting quarterback could leave the game and your team not miss a beat. I think that's important.
That's fair, but would you say that they played the exact same way with Malik Willis as they were going to with Jordan Love, or did they completely re-identify the offense?
Well, I think that goes back on coaching.
Okay, I'm asking, it's more of a that was like a yes or no?
I'm sure they probably played different, yeah.
Okay, they did. I'm letting you. They did play completely. It was a completely different style of Green Bay Packers offense. It wasn't throwing Malik Willis in there and being like, okay, like Jordan Love's out this week, be Jordan Love for us. That wasn't what was asked of him.
But why wouldn't they do that anyways? Because that's what wins them football games, is to have a quarterback that comes in there and plays like that. I feel like that goes back onto coaching too.
Because that gives,
like, why wouldn't you want to put your quarterback in the best scenario to win?
Because that gives a hard ceiling of what your team could be. or a hard floor of what your team could be. With Jordan Love in there, the ceiling's extremely
No,
high.
no, it'd be
How
hard. It'd be hard
talented.
ceiling. Hard
Yeah,
ceiling.
hard
You're right.
ceiling of
First
the
time.
team. And when you put Jordan Love in there, he raises that exponentially because of how talented he is. That's the point. Like when you throw Malik Willis isn't a starter in the NFL for a reason. Like you throw Jordan Love in the situation, he's so talented. That's why you play him and allow him to do all of the things he can do because he's capable of doing it. Malik Willis is not.
Yeah, I still think it matters that they've won 2 games without him because I think that just goes to show, like, back to my point of just I don't think the gap between these guys is
I
significant at all. I
I
just
I
think
do. I
it's a
think that
week
if
in
you
and week
can't
out.
see, I genuinely, I'm not like this isn't just for you and or anybody. This is for everybody. If people can't see the difference and with how different the quarterback position is played between Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts, like I can't help you at that point. Like it's a completely different game that Jordan Love is playing compared to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and I don't think that game is it doesn't just because it's different doesn't necessarily mean that it's better.
It's not. I'm just it does to the fact of when you're ranking quarterback individual quarterback play. I'm not talking about how good the team is at setting
No, I
somebody
know
up
that
for
because
success.
the Packers are gonna
That's
throw the football around the field more.
but that is the disconnect on these quarterback discussions, I feel like, where it's like, well, like they're really good at one thing and they do that, and that's why this guy's better than the other. Like that's not why they're playing the quarterback position like at a more sophisticated. Like I look at what Jordan Love does and Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott and all of those guys who are like actually Lamar Jackson, who are like actually going out there and slinging the rock. Jalen Hurts can't do that,
Jalen Hurts has done that before. He was
but
an MVP candidate.
not at a consistent rate in any
Right, and
way,
that's
shape, or
why
form.
that is my entire point of this is, like, I don't think that Jordan Love is significantly more consistent than anybody else from 8 to 15 on this list.
But if you were to switch, and we can disagree on this,
Yes, we will disagree on
I
that.
think you're brutally wrong. If you think that what Jalen Hurts is asked to do is at the same degree of difficulty as Jordan Love, you're wrong. Plain and
That's
simple.
not at all what I think.
I'm just saying that's how I'm taking it personally. Is
No,
like
I
that's
think
where
they're
I
asking
think
to do 2 different things, but I think we've seen Jalen Hurts do more than what he did last year. I think there's a rose colored lens on what they did last year
this has been two
because
seasons
of how
now.
good.
This has been 2 seasons now with Jalen Hurts. This is how he plays now. This is Jalen Hurts now at this point in his career. Unless he goes out there and proves everybody wrong. This is a 2 season sample size where he's been a very mid to below average thrower of the football.
Yeah, I just don't I don't really think like last year wasn't a great year for him throwing the football, but I just don't I'm just not really going to sit here and say that I think that Jordan Love is like consistently that much better. I just don't think so. I watched him play and I'm just like, okay, he throws the ball more, but like what's really happening here? That's how I look at it because I think winning still matters, and I understand the Eagles are a better football team, but I don't think it's fair to even sit here and be like, "Well, the Packers have nobody around him." And I understand the
I
gap in
don't.
the wide receiver talent is different, but the Packers are still a good football team. They have a good coaching staff. They have good players around Jordan Love. It's not the caliber of the Eagles, but like I don't think it's like he's sitting here and throwing to the Carolina Panthers team. Like, I
And
don't think it's like that at all.
Panthers have a great skill group.
The last year from last year.
I mean, I'm just what I'm getting. I think that what I'm getting at here is the Packers skill group is a lot closer to the Carolina Panthers than it is to the Philadelphia Eagles. Like that's really all there is to it.
I'll disagree with you there. Um, okay. Should we move this to running backs?
No, I mean we're right in the
Okay,
middle.
I don't have any.
I mean we're
I
having
don't
a
have
great
anything else
conversation.
to say about
You're
this
you're
list.
you're getting scared right now. Don't back out.
I don't have anything else to say about this list. I already rattled off to you what I thought. You know where I stand on Baker Mayfield. I think he's better than Jalen Hurts. I think he's better than Jared Goff. I think he's
Oof, that's crazy.
I think he's better than those guys.
That's insane.
I think he's
Um,
better than Geno. I think he's better than the two honorable mentions. I
one
think
person
Baker Mayfield should be higher on this list.
one person I want to highlight real quick, and somebody who you're completely disrespecting in all of this is CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud has gotten like a market recorrection and it's gone like too far the other way. Like last year, he was too high going into the season. He played this season and everybody kind of like overreacted in a way. And now he's like down off all these lists and people don't think he's that successful, whatever. What he's asked to do is crazy. The situations that Slowick put him in last year was pretty much like, hey, boss, I don't know what I'm doing, and I need you to figure all of this out for me. And we watched CJ on a lot of third and longs, second and longs, get throws out and get first downs and put his team in situations to win. And then on top of that, going with a team who I'm speaking personally, I don't know about you. I thought they were dead. They lost Tank Dell. They lost Stephon Diggs. Their offensive line was a complete mess. They had 56 sacks last season, third most in the NFL. Joe Mixon stunk. Like there was so much wrong with that offense. And what CJ was able to do with Nico Collins as well, he's extremely talented, like extremely underrated at this point. They won a playoff game, which I did not think that they would have a chance to win. A lot of it on the back of their defense, but CJ didn't go and lose them that game. And then in a very close game with the Chiefs, where if it wasn't for like a missed field goal and a missed extra point, I mean, we're having a different conversation. I mean, obviously that's a part of it, but what CJ was asked to do last season, having him at the top of the ranks last year for all of these lists for these NFL execs, and then what he did this year, I feel like still is very much deserving of being talked in the same air because he was the problem solver for the Houston Texans last season.
Yeah, I mean, I think they kind of got this right. It looks here, this says the voting for spots 8 through 11 was close, which I think is totally accurate. CJ Stroud was on one of the first honorable mentions, and I think he's right there in 8 through 11. So, like, I don't think they got that wrong. I think it'd be crazy if people moved him to like 15, but I don't think he's a better quarterback than okay, maybe if you have him in from 7 to 11, because like I would take him over the Jaden Daniels spot in here because it's
No
the
doubt.
Jaden Daniels spot's really throwing me off. So like I'm thinking about it as this: the top 6 guys or the top 5 guys are. I'm just going based off of how this is listed. Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar. They had Matt Stafford at 6, and then they had Herbert at 7. So like realistically, everybody just gets bumped one spot up because we're taking Jaden Daniels out of this. I think anywhere from like 7 to 11 for CJ Stroud is totally fine based off of last season and what he did his rookie year because the production is down. But I understand the O line was worse, but everybody had him at like what 6'5", and I don't think he should be lower than like 12. I think 7 to 11, 7 to 12 is accurate for him in the NFL.
I'm going to give my top 10 list and then we can move on to running backs if you would like. I'm going to go number 1, Lamar Jackson. Number 2, Josh Allen. Number 3, Patrick Mahomes. 4, Justin Herbert. 5, Joe Burrow. 6, Matt Stafford. 7, Dak Prescott. 8, CJ Stroud. 9, Jordan Love. And 10, Geno Smith. Those are my top 10 quarterbacks. And then on my honorable mention list, I'm going to go completely different. I'm going to go Brock Purdy and I will then put my honorable mention list as well. I will go Jared Goff. I think he's probably 13 to 12.
So there are some other guys that received votes for this list as well. Kyler Murray. It doesn't say how many, but Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, Dak, Aaron Rodgers, Tua, and Bo Nix.
I'm not shocked to hear Kyler at all. I've said it multiple times. There's some things that Kyler can do that Lamar Jackson's the only quarterback who else can do it. It's just about putting it all together. You want to talk about somebody who's very who had one of their most complete seasons last year and everybody kind of just shook it off a little bit was Kyler Murray, but that's a different story for a different day.
I think Kyler Murray just has, again, this goes back to my whole thing of outside of the top 6 guys, everybody from 7 to 15 is just not consistent enough in my eyes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would be higher up there because Kyler Murray, we see Kyler Murray put together these stretches in a season where he's playing like a legitimate top 6-5 quarterback, but he doesn't put it together for a full year. And that's what takes him from being in these top 10 lists to just receiving honorable mention votes. Because he has the talent, he has the arm talent, he has the ability to extend plays. He has, not to the extent of Lamar, but like you said, he has the ability to make those types of plays. He just hasn't been consistent enough. And if he were to put that together and be a little bit more consistent, I don't think there's a reason that he shouldn't be on one of these lists.
Yeah, again, I think that he is system based, and that's why he's not gonna. You're not asking Kyler to do a ton. It's the conversation I had about Jaylen and everything like that. I think some guys are playing a different position than other guys there are different degrees level of difficulty of quarterback. I don't think Kyler's asked to play that position at a high degree of difficulty. That's what holds him back from being top 10.
I don't know if I agree, but we can revisit that down the road.
Yes.
I just spit it. Good girl, we're getting paper as a passion. Collect the stacks and bring it back, man, and take